Okay. So that logical operators, no, see another scenario, or operator. So user has to be a student of your school or member of the library to borrow books. So in this case, he is school student or he is library member. Only that person can borrow the books. So that or you need to. So that's a logical and means this one. Logical or means two pipe symbols. Not means negation. He is not library member. So it will evaluate. So basically negation. So negation, if you want to do, you can use this not. So these are the logical operators. So we can just build this. So kind of logics we can write another logical operators. See, if I'm giving a space, it is throwing error. So logical operators take main method because I want to execute. So that's why I'm putting this one. So age. So age is greater than 18 and age is less than 40. So this kind of logics you will use widely in our coding. So that's why these are very, very important. Okay. So make sure you have those kind of logics. Another one. So you can declare logical OR operators. So OR means, so understand, AND means both should be true. So AND means both should be true. And then the output, so you will get, see here, he is a school student, true. He is library member, false. Now what will happen if any R means any one is true and you will get a true. I have given tables last class. So those tables you need to follow. Here see both are true, then you will get a true. So now here A is greater than or equal to 18. So age is 20. So greater than 18. So true. That means this portion is true. Now 20 less than 40. True. So true and true, true only will get. So that's how you need to evaluate the expressions. So this is the kind of expressions how you can write and evaluate them. So let's run this. Please understand AND and OR operators. So even though this is no true and this is a false, you're getting still true. That because of OR. OR tells anyone. Okay. Next we have, so see this negation. So negation will tell us the variable I given a different thing here. So you can see that now this is true. Is library member means you're printing true will print. Not true. Not true means so you will get a
False.
false. So that's the, let me separate this. Not negation, I'll put negation, and this one, so I'll put logical or epsilon. So that is the, so how you can practice all this. These are very important operators, and generally we'll use all these operators. So strictly just go through this because these logics building is very, very important. Okay. So next, unary operators. So these are some of the operators that are used with one operand at a time, and these are called unary operators. See, increment plus plus operator, decrement minus minus operators. So plus plus means increments a given value by one. So minus minus means decrements a given value by one. So that's the unary or increment or decrement operators, we call that. So just say simple, very simple things. Unary operators. See, now here score is 95, right? Score plus plus means what will happen now? So plus plus means
96.
1. So 96. So turns minus minus means now turns is 11. 11 minus 1
10.
is, so basically turns minus 1 it will happen. That means 11 minus 1, 10 you will get. So you will get a 10 here. So that's so unary operators. There are again these two forms are there. So this is the pre-increment and post-increment options will be there. So pre-increment means in the expressions it will matter, but both pre and post-increment. So basically both will increment the value. But when you're using in the expressions, the change will happen. So when you use this increment operator in between the some operands, so that matters. First it will increment and then participate in the calculation. That's a pre-increment. Post-increment means it won't increment in the expression. After expression calculation over, then it will increment that value. That's a post-increment. Even pre-decrement, post-decrement also. So pre-decrement means you will use a plus plus just before this. That's a pre-decrement. This is the post-increment. So there is a pre and this is also post-increment, post-decrement. So why you are calling post-decrement? Variable name, then operator. So the decrement operator, that is called post-decrement. Variable name plus plus, that is a post-increment. So there is a pre-decrement, pre-increment, let's put first pre-increment. So plus plus score. But here it doesn't matter here. So here anyway it will increment the score value. And this one turns. Here also pre-decrement. There is also nothing change here also. But let's see what is the outputs of these two. So score now after pre-increment to after pre-decrement to. So I'll write pre-increment after score value is pre-decrement after turns value. turns. So we can just see now. Can you tell me what is that now here? What is the score now? When it comes to this line, what is the score value here? Hmm.
96.
96. 96 and plus plus. So that means what is the value it will become here?
97.
97. Why that much delay? It's very fast, right? So easy mathematics. So tons, what is the tons value now? When it reaches here?
9.
9. Why 9?
10.
It's a 10 here, right? Now, okay, you are telling after decrement.
10 minus, yeah.
10 minus 1, 9.
9.
9 will become. That's it. So that's there is no difference here when you use, single. Pre or post, it doesn't matter. Both will decrement one value, increment one value. But when there is an expressions, that matters. So that expressions, so I'll show you some other program. See this now. Okay, that's a unary operators. So the pre-decrement also we have seen. That's fine. All we have seen. Yeah, that's it. All the operators. So we have covered, and please go through these questions and answer these questions and send it to me. So there are some exercises also here, and practice all these exercises. Okay. And now, so very important topic, variables. So variables is crucial topic. Everything you can find under these labels. You can see variable. So what is a variable? We have seen data types. We have seen access modifiers. Now, very important one, variable. So variable is a special type of entity in the class. So class inside only will declare this variable, right? So variable is mainly a storage location for your value. So it stores the value into a variable. You will use variable concept to store it. That's the variable means. Variable has three characteristics: name, data type, and value. So every variable has okay, what is the type of that variable? Then what is the name and what value you want to store there? That is what variable. So it can hold only single value. So it can hold only single value, but any kind of data. It can be numbers, it can be Boolean value, it can be character, it can be string. Any kind of data you can store in the variable. Even object reference also you can store in the variable. So that's the variable means. So we use a name to distinguish one variable from another. So why you will use a name for a variable? To distinguish between two different variables. How can you distinguish? By giving a unique name. That's the main way to identify variables from others. So variable type determines what kind of data you are storing in that variable. So that's the variable type. And the value is specific object or data or some information you can store in the variable. So how to work with the variables? So just to declare, no, there are different type of variables: local variables, static variables, non-static variables. So you can declare, this is just a declaration, type, name. This is the local variable declaration. And later you can assign a value. See, this is the assignment. So this name you call to assign. First declare or you assign, but so not necessary like that. So you can declare in the same and assign the value. Or you declare a first variable, then assign. See, only variable name you need to call when you are assigning. So that is the how to declare a variables. See, this one is, so you can declare a variable and assign the value in the same line. So this is also one valid point. So both, see, you can update this value. So A is 27 and see you are updating the value to 28 instead of 27. So 27 will erase from A's memory and 28 will store in the A's variable. So that's the updating the variable value. So what are the rules for declaring a variable? So you need to follow some rules. So when it comes to naming of your variable in Java, you can name it anything as long as it doesn't start with a number and it cannot contain any special spaces in the name. So although you can start a variable name with an underscore also. You can start with underscore also or a dollar sign also. So not being too mindful of their usage can make your code very hard. So that's why you should not use generally these things. But generally you can use them, these two special characters only in the variable thing. But there are your variable always should start with a alphabet lowercase. Then it can contain numbers. Alphanumerics. A variable name can contain alphanumerics. So what are final variables means? A final variable in Java can be initialized only once. And if you declare a variable as a final, this value cannot be modified. So now you declared and assigned 27, right? So always this age is going to have 27 only because of this final keyword. Final keyword is a non-access modifier keyword. So when you declare a variable, any kind of variable as a final, that's a constant. The value cannot be changed. If I try to update here, so this will give you a compile time error because final variable value cannot be modified. So that one point you need to remember. So here you can declare and you can assign here, not a problem. That won't give any issue for you. So here are the valid names you have to give always. So int is, int double salary, boolean is married, string name, int numbers. This is array declaration. So this is how you can declare your variable. To declare a variable, you can use data type, variable name, semicolon. That's a declaration. So assignment or initializing a variable with a declaration, this is the, you are declaring a variable and assigning a value. You are declaring a variable and assigning the value. You are declaring a variable, assigning the or initializing the value. So this is all how to declare and assign the value, how to declare the variables. So assignment operator, I already told, it copies the value from variable into another. So that's say 3 is copying into I, 1 is copying into A. So now A plus 1 means 1 plus 1 is copying into B. So x equal to 3. 3 plus 1 means 4 is copying into A. Now you are updating here. So that's the assignment operator. We already seen that. See here you have few more and let's see variable types. So what are the variable types? So we have 3 types of variables. Local variables, static variable and non-static variables. So local variable, instance or a non-static variable and a static variable. These are the 3 types of variables we have. So local variable, if you declare any variable inside the method body or block body, then those variables are called local variables. Local variables, if you declare local variables, you can access this local variable in this method only. If I create another method, I cannot use this. So I cannot use this score and turn here. If I call like this, see, it doesn't understand. The scope of that local variable is only till this, till here only. See, it says cannot be resolved because it doesn't understand where that is. Local means local to that area only, where you declared in that part only it is accessible. So local variables are accessible within that method only, not outside the method. So that's what I have shown you here. See, when you try to call outside the method, it is throwing a compile time error. This is called compile time error. So you cannot call that. So that's clearly telling here the statements. Every statement you have to by heart this. It should be in your mind. So I want you guys tomorrow, you need to explain this mandatory to me because this is a very important topic. So local variables are allocated memory in a stack memory. So let me go to memory areas. Once again, I told you I'm going to come back. So memory areas. Yeah. So, yeah, stack, right? Stack area. I'm just looking for this. Okay. This is the memory areas. Method area, heap area, stack area. So this stack area inside the local variables will store. So local variables allocate memory in which memory? So stack memory. Stack memory, it will store. And that's the local variable means. And so these are also called stack variables. So once the method execution is over, these local variables are destroyed from the stack memory. That means not going to be available after method execution. Method execution means this when it reaches the end part of the method, and these local variables will be cleared from the stack memory. And for local variables, the default value is never assigned. So local variables, you must assign the value. So the local variable syntax is data type, variable name equal to value. So this is the local variable syntax. So declare and assign the value. Only declaration, I have shown you so many examples, right? Data type, variable name is the declaration. Now this one is initializing your variable value with the assignment operator. So that's you can even apply final keyword with the local variables. You can declare your local variable as a final keyword. This which modifier keyword can be used on the local variable is only final keyword. You cannot use a static keyword. You cannot use static keyword for local variables. So because there is no modifier here applied on the local variables, only one modifier, that is final keyword. So final data type variable name equal to value. Then what is the difference between this and this? Final variable and local variable, the difference.
Final don't have return value.
Now, what is the difference between final and this?
Final is constant, local value can be changed later.
So final variable value cannot be modified. So if you try to, okay, so I'll print final variable x value is. So this I can so use it, but if I try to modify here, so x if I try to modify, so it should throw error. Why it's not throwing error?
No, your capital X. Yeah.
Yeah. So still it is not showing error. It should show error. So basically, y value you can modify. Same. See, I'm assigning a new value here. So y value you can change. See, now it is throwing error here. Remove final. If you want to modify, remove final. So that means once you assign the value for final variable, it cannot be changed this value. 10 to 15 you cannot change. So that's the final and normal variable differences. Normal variable value you can modify, you can assign a new value anytime, but final variable value cannot be modified. Okay, so that's the final and normal variable. Next, so are you clear on this? What is a local variable means? Where you can declare local variables? The definition itself it is telling. If you declare any variable within the method body or block body, that is called local variable. So local variables are accessible in this method only, not outside the method. So local variables will go and store in the stack memory area. Once method execution is over, these will be destroyed from the stack memory. That's why you cannot use this in another method, because it is not available in the memory, right? If it is not there in the memory, you cannot use. So that is the reason. Very clearly understand that. Why one method variable you cannot call in another method. The reason is this is the one. So it won't be available because the memory will be destroyed here. The values will be destroyed. So that's all about local variables and instance variables. What is meant by instance variable? If you declare any variable outside the method and inside a class, can you make? So if you declare any variable outside the method means this is the one, and below the class without static keyword, access modifier, data type, so variable name equal to value. So this is the non-static variable. So the variable should not contain a static keyword. Variable declaration. Then this variable where you can use in any method of non-static methods only. Static methods you cannot call. You don't have a provision to call directly in the static methods. So that is this instance variables are non-static variables. Where you can access these instance variables? Instance variables are accessible within non-static method only. Why you want to declare outside? If you declare once, you can use the same variable in multiple methods of non-static methods. But what about static methods? Can we call in static methods non-static? No, you cannot call. Both are different category. So different memory areas. So non-static will come and store in the heap memory area. Static will go and store in the method area. That's why both memories are different. The partition of storing capacity is different. So non-static variable are not accessible within any static method. So you should not call in static methods the non-static variables directly. So instance variable is not required to initialize. Explicitly, JVM will provide a default values for this instance variables. For example, any integers, 0 will be there, or floating values 0.0 will be there. Boolean false will be the default value. So like that, like no object, there is a null is the default value. Null tells you no value assigned to that variable. That's a null. String also you can declare as a null default value. If you don't assign any value, null will be the default value. So instance variables are allocated memory in the heap area. When they will allocate memory, when you create a instance variable, will it immediately go and store there? No.
Runtime.
If you create object for the class, then only they will allocate memory in the heap area. So at runtime, that means object will be created at runtime. So the runtime data will go and store in this heap area. So that's the instance variables where it will go and store. For every object, you can create n number of objects for say one class. For every object, one memory will create. For example, you create a one object. So another one more object, one more memory, one more memory. So how many objects you create, that many memories will create. Each object, a separate copy of instance variable will store. Same, for example, this is the same class instance, this one. So here, those will store in this each memory. Same variable will go and store in that memory. If you want to access this memory, this reference variable you have to use. So that's the how you can use these references. So that's the instance variable means. And instance variable syntax is access modifier data type variable name equal to value. So you can declare a final keyword also on the non-static variables protected final string s4 equal to Java. So that's all about this. See, I am declaring a class below only this syntaxes you have to write every time. So tomorrow definitely I'm going to test this. This is very, very important. I want all the scenarios also. Next, static variables. So static variables, if you declare any variable as a static, that is called static variable. Static variables declared again outside the methods below the class with the static keyword. That's how you can differentiate non-static variables and static variables. Both are in the same class below only, here only, but outside the methods. One has a static keyword, one doesn't have a static keyword. Static keyword is with the static keyword, those variables are called static variables. So static variables will store memory in this method area while loading the class, but one time only memory allocates for that static variable, and you can reuse n number of times. So basically static variables will store the in the method area while loading the class type. And so static variables can be accessible in any method everywhere. Static, non-static, all the places you can call because it's a common thing. Static means it's a common. That's why you can access anywhere. So basically static variables refer to a common property of all objects, like company name of employees, college name of students. These are the common thing. And that's why, so those will accessible in any method. Static variables have to be declared at the class level and cannot be declared at the method level. So method inside you cannot declare as a static. Static variable gets memory only once in the class area at the time of class loading. So static variables are accessible within any method. So the syntax is access modifier static data type variable name equal to value semicolon. Even you can declare as a final also the static. So all the final variables should write in capital letters. So that's all about static and non-static differences. So static variables can access them using class name. Non-static variable can access using object reference. First you have to create object, then object reference dot non-static variable. Directly you cannot access. So static variables can access them with the static methods as well as non-static methods. So non-static variable can be accessed only in non-static methods. Static variables are allocated memory only once while loading the class. So non-static variable memory per object is allocated. Every object memory allocated for the same variables. So these variables are shared across all objects. So, and non-static variables, each object has its own copy of non-static variables. So static variables have a global scope and non-static variables have local scope. Local scope means within non-static methods only you can access directly. If object reference is there, then you can call them in the static methods also. So you have more information on the static. Please go through these all steps and it will help you understand more. If you have any questions, come back. Now, what is final variable? Final is a non-access modifier keyword. Final keyword can be applied on class, method, and variable. You can declare a class as a final. You can declare method as a final. You can declare variable as a final. And final variable value cannot be changed. So once you declare, that's a final. You cannot change the value. I have shown you already. So these are the some of the questions. Can you access static variables under non-static methods? What is the answer?
No.
No.
No,
Can
we
you
can't.
access non-static variables under static method? So this is a, what you said, this is for no, you said?
Can you add?
What is the
Wrong.
answer you said for this?
No, actually, it's not
No,
kind of
that is
thing like
wrong, right?
they are wrong.
Static is common, remember, static is common. Anywhere you can access. Don't confuse, okay? And non-static variables, you cannot call in static methods. Can static variables can be used with the static methods? Yes. Can static variables can be used with the non-static method? Yes. Can non-static variable be used with the static method? No.
No.
Can non-static variables be used with the non-static method?
Yes.
Yes. So these are the some of the very important points. And so I want to first tomorrow I'll ask everybody has to explain these methods. Okay. Tomorrow what time we'll meet?